Good morning and welcome to Call Center Talk. I'm Colin Taylor, the Chairman and CEO of the Taylor Reach Group, and with me is Turaj.
Hi, this is Turaj Seyrafiaan, also with Taylor Reach Group. And as Colin mentioned, we're going to be talking and discussing a couple of items, a couple of key KPI.
Key performance indicators, easy for you to say. Well, we wanted to speak to Turaj this morning about service level. I guess we did a bit of a video around that a couple of weeks back, and I'm always dumbfounded when I get these requests to say, what should my service level be? And and the answer to that, I'm tempted to say is 4 or perhaps 42, and then the response would be, well, that doesn't make any sense, and I think, well, neither did the original question. Because we can't understand what the service level should be until we understand a lot more about the organization and its customers and what its desires are. We can tell you what the most common service level is, 80-20, 80% of the calls answer within 20 seconds is the most common customer service level in use today. But when we look at service level, it's not just it's not just a one size fits all. And there's so many elements at play here. Certainly, there's the percentage of calls and there's the ASA or the wait time, Turaj, but what other elements need to be considered?
Well, I mean, it's more than just looking at one number, and it's looking at the entire picture. So service level is only one little part of it. Then there's the average speed of answer, which gives you the rest of that portion of the service level. Then there's, of course, the longest delay in the queue, so at least we know what's happening. But these are all from one side of the operation. There's also the whole other side of the operation with the customer expectation. And how do we build that customer expectation, which goes back to what you have in terms of your competitor and what you actually build in terms of your marketing and your advertising. What did you build and what did you told these customers?
Well, so many things factor into what that customer expectation is. Organizations would like to think that they determine and set the expectations their customers hold, and to a degree that's true. Through all of our marketing and our promotional activities and our advertising, we create some expectations. But expectations are also going to be influenced by our peers. If I've got a friend who's used wireless carrier X, then he's going to tell me his impressions of the service. I may go online if I'm looking at changing carriers and get a whole other set of expectations. So it isn't just about the expectations we create, and there can even be I can't talk. There can be ambiguous terms and ambiguity around the expectations we're trying to create. If you're on a website and looking at a company's mission statement that speaks to world-class customer service, well, what the heck does that really mean, right? It's going to mean different things to different people. So many different elements are going to build into the customer expectations that an organization can't completely control that.
And the other part of all of this is what can an organization afford to do, which is the whole budget side of this picture. So again, just because you like an item doesn't mean that you should advertise, you should target for it, because if you can't do it, you have other problems.
Fundamentally, you can see budgets built one of two ways. You can either build it based on here's the number of contacts we're expecting, here's the channel distribution, and take it right down to how many qualified staff do I need at what period of time, and then you can cascade from that the cost to provide that service. Unfortunately, most organizations, when they do that, that number has no connection to whatever budgetary number that the organization may have created or may be prepared to allot. So you end up with negotiating between the budget and the requirement. The other approach, and certainly we've had clients who've done both, is to simply say, this is the pot of money we have, try and make it last for 12 months, and provide as close to the target level of service as you're able to provide.
Well, and this is you and I have been involved in. It creates this very interesting scenario that you actually calculate backward.
Yes.
To calculate your average handle time, for example, and you say, okay, for me to reach everything that I want, my average handle time should be this much, and I'm going to go and provide much of incentives to my agent so they can reach these 15% reduction in the average handle time.
Oh, but that is such a slippery slope.
Well,
You know, we've dealt with client organizations that have had very successful incentive programs to reduce handle time. You know, and one that comes to mind was that every time they completed a call in less than the 180 seconds, that there was a new target AHT that got their name entered into a draw for a very high value prize. It was interesting as we started to look at the results that they were achieving. Not, you know, they were doing incredibly well on getting to that handle time. The problem was their call volume was increasing, and while there was a little bit of puzzlement at first about why that was going on, it didn't take us long monitoring to determine what the cause was. And it was the fact that we're listening to the agents telling the callers that their 3 minutes were up, and could they please call again, and they could finish the call. So a forced reduction in AHT led to a parallel reduction in first contact resolution, which of course increased the number of contacts and increased the overall cost. So a forced reduction in AHT can certainly deliver a lot of false positives in terms of whether it's aligning to your goals.
Well, and this is where we started talking about that you need to look at the big picture. You can't just take one part and say, oh, I'm doing great here, without doing the rest of what's happening in that picture. Really come back to, and we have talked about this before, about moving 1,000 parts. And this is really understanding what we are doing, how everything puts together, how it fits together, and are we delivering what we actually want to deliver, or are we delivering something that is really not our expectation at the beginning?
So in answer to what should your service level be, the answer, it depends.
It depends.
And join us on our next session. We can start talking about some of the techniques and tactics that you can use to try and determine what might be appropriate and how you might leverage customer segmentation to better deliver the customer experience. Thank you.